Empowerment Show aims to equip individuals with the necessary tools, knowledge, and confidence to make informed decisions and take control of their lives. It also focuses on ensuring access to essential resources and the opportunities.
All right. Good morning, and thank you guys for tuning in to the Empowerment Show. My name is Kendall Stevenson, and I am the host. I know it's morning, and we generally do this in the evening, but I had a brother. He decided we wanted to come on this morning and discuss some things, basically about culture. Again, my name is Kendall Stevenson. I am the host, and always on the Empowerment Show, we look for things to be grateful for. Well, in this society, right at the moment, under this administration, I can just say I'm grateful to have family and friends and the support of family and friends. Today we got a young man that's going to be coming on, and I call him a young man, and I say that with hold on, let me see. I think he's here. Let me let me see. Mr. Cologne, are you here?
Yes.
Hey, how are you, Mr. Cologne?
How are you doing?
It is so glad that you decided to come on to the show. I appreciate it all. As you can hear, we have a lot of accolades for you, applause, because you are the man. Right?
not by any means. Man.
Oh yeah, you're the man. You are the man, brother. And we here at this network, we truly appreciate you coming on to share your knowledge with us. Yesterday, we were having a discussion. We tuned in to a Zoom meeting, and we had a discussion. One of them was about culture, and I had a little difference of opinion yesterday about what I feel our culture is. It was saying American culture. A lot of things in America are not American culture. Like they would say, American apple pie. It's as American as American apple pie. Well, apple pie actually comes from London. Baseball actually comes from Ireland. So those people, and when I say those people, the historians here, the people that talk about history here, they have no problem returning back to their origin when they speak about their culture. They have no problem at all with it. It just seems that we as African Americans, we like to start our history off with slavery, as though there were nothing before slavery. And if we start our culture off or started off with slavery, that's really kind of disrespecting our ancestors that came here before us. Because even though those that were in bondage here, the way that they fought, the Harriet Tubman, they came from somewhere. They came from another people. You know, they didn't just show up during slavery and then all of a sudden we decided to fight. We as Africans, and I say Africans, or should I say Al-Kebalan?
Al-Kebalan, yes.
Al-Kebalan. That's right. That's the original name of the continent of Africa. And we have multiple countries in there. And we have multiple cultures that we have come from. Now, in this country, they because of his story, and not so much the true story, but his story, kind of whitewashed everything. Told us to forget about our culture. We're the only ones that they told to forget about our culture. And for hundreds of years, we've been told this. We've gone from being Negro to being niggers and all. But, you know, like I told you before, you can't be black and be a nigger too. Because first of all, to be black, it means that I am culture of the world. You understand? I'm part of the global majority. I'm not a minority. And if I say I'm a nigga, again, I'm saying my culture started here, because here is where that came from. Even our religion that we study, we know way back when Ethiopia, the original Bible, it's older than the Christian Bible. They have churches in Ethiopia that are older than any churches they have in London or England or throughout Europe. So again, even the religion that we practice has been whitewashed. Our language have been whitewashed. You can go to Ghana and the official language there is English. So many things have been stolen and taken from us, whitewashed all over the place. We as black people here in America, we've kind of become what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Knock.
Assimilated.
We have been conditioned to assimilate. And that assimilation has caused us segregation to be segregated amongst ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Talk to me, Mr. Cologne, please.
Well, I think first of all, we have to understand, I think, what culture is. To me, my understanding is that culture is how humans respond to the circumstances in their environment, to the variables, the factors in their environment. Um, for us, we look at oppression as a cultural determinant. You spoke about what we bring from Africa. A lot of people aren't aware that historically, especially in the Carolinas, plantation owners had a very difficult time with those people that they originally brought over from the African continent. And they had such trouble that they went back to England or Germany, I forget which country it was, but they spoke with somebody who was an author of the white supremacy doctrine. And they said, we're having all this trouble with these people. They are not, because they know who they are and they resist powerfully. And this person that they spoke to, they said, how do we handle this problem? And he said, you work the older people, the original ones you took to death, and you take their children and you make them, condition them to be the way you want. Those are some of the factors that we have to contend with. That's how we were sliced off from our African roots, so to speak. But, as we exist in this country, I think that we adopt many of the cultural ways of the colonizer. The African countries, Mali in particular, their economy and the way they interacted with each other was based on surplus. They gave others that didn't have. They call it socialism now, and we're taught to hate it. You dig? You've heard me talk about Ubuntu, a philosophical concept that was present in virtually every tribe on the African continent, from the Bantu up north to the Zulu in the south. They had the same word, Ubuntu. And the illustration that I use is the story of this European anthropologist studying tribal culture. As an experiment, he set a basket of perfectly ripe and absolutely delicious fruit up against the base of a tree that was some distance from the village. As he walked back to the village, he came across a group of children playing, and he said to them, up against the base of that tree is a basket of perfectly ripe, absolutely delicious fruit. And the first one over there can have it all. He said, ready, get set, go. But they didn't race over there to see who could get there first. They walked over hand in hand. When they got to the tree, they sat down and began to share the fruit. And the European was puzzled by this. So he approached and he asked, he said, you're the biggest kid here. You could have run over and had it all for yourself. Why didn't you do that? And the little boy said, Ubuntu. And he said, what? Ubuntu. What's Ubuntu? And the little boy said, how can I be happy if my brother is sad?
That's right.
How can I find joy in having something if he doesn't have anything? And the European way of operating is based in scarcity. They originate or respond to cold climates where things don't grow. So I imagine that they had to compete for just getting stuff to eat. That may be part of their nature because they stress competition over cooperation. If
or
I
conquering,
yeah,
they
yes,
believe in
if I have,
conquering. Just take it.
yes, exactly. If I have, the more I have, the better I am. And
Mm-hmm.
if I give to you, then I have less. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like that. We are taught to pursue status. And I think it was this guy, I forget this young man's name, but he was brilliant. He said, status in America means I have more than you, therefore I am better than you, and it's a sad thing. It enforces, like I said, competition over cooperation. And we wind up in places where we just don't like to give. We want to get so much. and it's more than we could ever use. You hear? The American Indians had a thing similar to what the Africans had. They said if a man didn't have a horse or a teepee or a blanket, we gave him those things
Mhm.
so that he could become what he needed to be to enhance all of us in the tribe. You
Well,
hear?
if you look back in some of the proverbs, what was this is what I always like to say is I am because we are.
Right. That's the
Right.
Ubuntu.
I
That's
am
Ubuntu.
because we are. So if I am rich, I'm rich because all of us are rich. If
Yes.
I'm poor because all of us are poor. But in this country, we live in a country right now. It's all about capitalism. It's all about how much you can take from the poor and give to the rich, because that's kind of what they're doing right now.
You're
And
right.
I really don't like to see brothers and sisters debate against each other on small things. I think last night the brothers was right. We do need to come together and we do need to grow. But unfortunately, we've been conditioned so much, man, that it's really hard. A lot of us have truly assimilated. We forget about the culture before slavery, because
Hmm.
that before slavery is what's going to bring us to the next chapter, I believe. Honestly,
Well,
I think that what we learned, or what we come, if you look right now in Africa, in African countries like this country called Burkina Faso,
hmm,
and
Ibrahim.
even Ghana and Niger, you see they're starting this Pan-African movement. And they're starting to
Hmm.
feed themselves, clothe themselves, get rid of, just do
They
away
get
with
rid of
the
the colonized.
colonialism,
They kicked France
get
out
rid
of
of the
so many
colony,
countries.
and starting to build and build, and then they're starting to remember, because I listened to what's his name, Ibrahim
Traore,
Traore.
yes.
I listened to him, what he has to say, and he constantly refers back to his ancestors to look for knowledge, look for direction. And this is what we kind of forgot here. We got a problem here, and I don't mean to harp on the problems, because we need to solve them. We do need to have solutions for them. Um, we have a problem with the youth and the elders here. The elders don't respect the youth, and the youth don't have any respect for the elders. And I was talking to a couple of young people, and they said they don't have any respect because they feel that the elders have let them down. The elders have brought them to this path right now, and it's bad. It's a bad path to them. They they're looking for guidance. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for us, the elders, to kind of act like our ancestors did with us, to teach us.
Well, if I can, I think that what you describe is in fact a reflection of how we have really taken on some of the values of the European culture, the European approach to life. They put their elders. In fact, I went back to school when I was, in my 60s and whatnot, and I remember we had a project in this class, and it was had to do with the elderly people in Lackawanna County, and the two students that worked with me, one was a nun from Burundi, and the other was a PhD. She had in philosophy from Burkina Faso.
Mm,
And she said, he said, in America, youth is emphasized, youth is glorified. Um, Everybody lies about their age because they want to appear younger. She said, back in our countries, people lie about their age. They say they're older because the elders still get that respect. They still get the best seat at the table. They are appreciated for their experience and wisdom. You hear? The word is valued. You hear? But in America, we dispose of the elderly. You put them away in nursing homes.
mm,
You hear? And I mean, I had a friend that was an NYPD, worked with the police department in the city. She used to tell me that in the Asians sometime would come and drop off their elderly people in the emergency room and leave them. They
mm,
wouldn't come back for them.
mm.
You hear? Um, but if we can begin, I think, to really return to our roots, so to speak, and I think that we have access to virtually every culture on the continent of Africa, Al Kebalan. We can pick and choose components that I think would matter to us. But let me say this too, because we are oppressed daily, what they call it microaggressions, all the things that we have to face that diminish us. When we have a chance to talk amongst and between ourselves, and we know that we have some ability and power in us, we are eager to express our knowledge, to express our opinions, to give the benefit of our experience. And because all of us are in the same boat, we sometimes knock heads. Everybody wants to show that they have some capability, and it leads to conflict. It leads to, oh, this one think he know that, and this one that, and that's not what it's got to be about. It has to be about understanding that everybody has something to contribute, and respecting everybody's whatever experience that they've had that have generated the knowledge that they operate with in life. When we can begin to do that, I think we can move forward in the ways that are necessary. And don't get me wrong, we have been successful in this country.
Oh yeah.
Time and time again.
Oh,
We
yeah.
learned, but part of the narrative of racism is to eradicate our successes. So it confirms the narrative platform that says we can't be successful. And they've done that so well that a lot of Black people believe, well, we can't get together and we can't do that. We've done it time and time again, and we will do it now. In fact, I think now it's more necessary than ever before.
I must confess, brother, I've always been, well, I can't say I've always been, but just looking at our current situation and the way that I've grown up and the people that I've known, I kind of had that attitude too, that we're not going to come together. I kind of felt that way. I felt there's no way we're going to come together as people. I felt that after Jim Crow, after segregation, after so many things, that these terrible things that happened to us in this country, and we still didn't come together. So I was just wondering, well, what will it take for us to come together as a people? When I talk to a guy from Ireland, everybody that's Irish is down with him. I talked to a guy that's from a Jewish. He has a culture. He has a people. He knows he could be 10 years old. He could be 100 years old. Yeah, with us, sometimes we can't decide whether we want to be Black, whether we want to be African American, what religion we want to follow. It's like we're so all over the place to where it's not one of us. It's not like we're not one people.
Well, I think that it's really almost impossible for everybody to always be on the same page. But I think, honestly, that in some way you might view this Trump, what I call him the apprentice, his presidency might be a good thing, because he will put us in a position where we have to unify in order to resist effectively. He might throw things down. They talk about how the policies that he's put in place are rage bait, looking to get people to demonstrate so they can put those demonstrations down, violently in the way that they do. And in doing that, he can declare martial law and attempt to suspend elections. That's one of the theories or people that talk about those kind of things. But I think that the way he behaves is forcing those people who have real values, who really want to see this country become what it's always been put forth as. They may come together in response to Trump and really begin to do things better than they have been in the past.
Well, right now, the government is shut down. And, it's funny, but the government is shut down. We as African Americans, at one point, that really didn't matter to us because we were pretty much building our own. We were doing our own thing, building our own towns and all that. But now that we are all inclusive, as you want to say, those things are going to affect us. I mean, federal workers are talking about getting rid of more federal workers. So that we already got a delay. My wife had an issue with Social Security. She called up. Oh God, that was a nightmare. She went down to the Social Service office and the line was around the corner.
I hear you. Listen, you know what's so funny? Since he became president, he laid off thousands and thousands and thousands of federal workers. But then when the Department of Labor statistics comes out and the unemployment rate rises, he fires a woman because he says she's lying.
Yeah, how about that? I'm telling you, this guy, you know, I don't know how people can't see it. I don't understand. I've listened to him at his speeches. And this man is insane. Did you listen to him with the generals? That
No.
speech with the general? Oh my God, this man is insane. You know, generally, when a president shows up for one of these military affairs or he wants to speak to the military, at the end, you know what you get at the end? The generals and everybody will stand up and they'll do this.
Right.
Okay, you know what they did?
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. Well,
this man was talking all out the side of his mouth. You couldn't. How do you declare war against the people in your own country? How do you do that? Because that's what he did. He wants to go to all these different cities. He's talking about he wants to clean up crime. I don't know what he's trying to cover up here, but a lot of stuff that he does is smoke and mirrors, so it's hard to really tell what he's trying to protect. You know, so I think it's crazy what's going on right now, man. And I'm telling you, this man is not cognate. Something is wrong with him.
I absolutely agree. He is a narcissist in the, you know, if you understand the term. But the fact that I did see one of the generals respond to him, and I did see this guy, the district attorney in Philadelphia, respond to him, and they responded with vigor, and they declared, like, I'm not loyal to you. I'm loyal to the Constitution, and I will die to defend it. And that's what makes me say that perhaps his presidency will ignite the people who really have good values and have them come together and perhaps even push him out, but take steps to prevent that from happening again.
Now, you got to think about this. So if they pushed him out, let's just say they pull it out their butt, the 25th Amendment, and say he's insane and we're going to move, we're going to move on, right? So that means J.D. Vance.
Well, J.D. Vance doesn't have the charisma. He doesn't have, Trump has an image. You know, we fall for image. You know, movies are incredibly, I want to talk about that if I get the chance, are an incredibly powerful tool of propaganda because they present images to us. You know, thought produces an image, image produces a feeling, and the feeling produces action. You know, but he has an image, Trump does, but J.D. Vance doesn't have that. And the people will knock the head off, and you know, you said hit the body and the head will follow. You knock the head, the body collapses. You know, so you know, we'll see. But I think people will be able to deal with J.D. Vance a lot more so than Trump. Trump doesn't have those sycophantic followers, or Trump has those followers, and J.D. Vance does not.
You know what? You didn't put your title up, so just for the viewing audience, why don't you tell them who you are, brother?
Well, my name is Darryl Colon. You know, I grew up in Harlem. You know, was fortunate. My father was a hustler. You know, but he got locked up a lot. I lost my father when I was 14. He had been in and out of jail for like 11 years. The circumstances that I was born into didn't do a lot to foster self-esteem or self-worth. But I came to get those on my own. I began to accomplish things that I set my mind to, and that gave me confidence to believe in myself. You know, but over time, I found that doing it by yourself was kind of empty. You might remember that movie Mahogany, and Billy D. Williams said to Diana Ross, he said, "Success doesn't mean a damn thing without someone you love to share it with." And I said, ooh, that's what I want, a partner to share. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I understand wholeheartedly, brother. I've been with my wife for over 30 years.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to say. I can't have that. I mean, I've tried, and I've done 4 times. And in each marriage, I gave my absolute best. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. But the woman that I'm with now has been the greatest support. All the dreams that I've wanted to accomplish, she has stood there for me, been the foundation to allow me to pursue my dreams. You know, you may not be aware, but I was fortunate enough to be signed with Abrams Artist Agency. Now it's A3 as a voiceover artist, and I did some commercials, on-screen commercials. They put me in front of the camera once or twice.
You trying to steal my thunder, brother?
Not at all. I just want to be lightning. You can be thunder, I'll be lightning.
Hey, no, man.
I
you know, it's funny. I don't mean to cut you off. I don't want to bring you back on, but every time the karaoke, every time it comes on, we go to karaoke. Guess who I have to be?
Tell me.
Right on, baby. Right on.
Barry White. I listen to him. You know, but my thing was always psychology. Years ago, the Black Muslims used to teach, don't study psychology, study technology, study architecture, become a doctor or a chemist or an engineer. And I understood the value of that. But I kind of just had this thing for psychology. I worked towards a master's in clinical psych, 1980. I went to Wall Street. I got sidetracked, you know, and I fell into the aviation industry and became a flight attendant. And it was pure chance. But I got to tell you, with a hook, it's an addictive lifestyle. I'm sitting on a beach in Tahiti, watching the South Pacific sunset. I'm listening to smooth jazz. I'm sipping champagne. I'm surrounded by cuties. And I'm there for 4 days. And 2 or 3 of those cuties think I'm cute. I'm there for 4 days and I'm getting paid. And I said, you know, I think I could do this. So 35 years flying. But when I retired, I went right back to school. I got this degree in clinical mental health counseling. And one of the motivations was to address the mental health needs of Black men. That was my initial target population. Because, and you've heard me say this, when people talk about the impact of racism and how it's affected us as a people, they talk about the impact on us in terms of incarceration or employment or money, finances, or education, you know, or life expectancy, healthcare and things like that. But they rarely talk about how it impacts our mental health. You hear? And what I've noticed is what I call the discrepancy. In Black men, innately within themselves, they feel that they are capable, powerful, as intelligent, as gifted as anybody else, and better than most. But they see the rewards go to the others. You hear? That don't have the ability and talent that they have, and they're confounded by this. You hear? This discrepancy between what I know I am and where I show up or manifest in this society.
You've been reading my book. Is that what it is? You've been reading my book. That's
your book. What? Yeah, well, I'm on your book. I've been reading. I'm on chapter 2, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, because
chapter 2 right now.
In my book talks about a lot of Black men and or Black people in general and things that we had to go through. My mother always said you had to be twice as good, and as I grew up, I learned I had to be 3 times as good. You know, I developmental dyslexia it should have stopped me from doing a lot of things. But I refused to allow that, and I learned how to read. I learned how to write. It took me some time, and as you know, I ended up with 2 master's degrees. But that's because not because of employment or a job. I already had a good job. Was already making good money. The first degree, we got a little bit more money in our pockets, but everything after that was me.
Well, this
challenging me. I was challenging myself to say what I can and what I could not do, what my abilities actually are. You know, it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to go to college and get a bachelor's degree. It's another to actually go do it.
You know? Well, this is why I have such respect for you, Kendall, to tell you the absolute truth. You are you self-determined. You had to rely on yourself, and you pushed yourself as hard as you could. And you accomplish the goals that you set forth. And that is self-mastery. You hear? And that's being relying on yourself, because you know that what's outside of you is not necessarily good for you. So you push through. And I'll tell you this, the danger with that is as you go through life, because you learn to rely on yourself and you trust your judgment because it's produced positive results for you, it sometimes makes it difficult to listen to what others have to say, to accept advice or information from outside of yourself. That's something that I think we all have to be aware of. Being willing to consider others and say, maybe I'm not right. Let me listen and try to understand somebody else. And
I'm going to tell you, in my case,
but understanding is great.
Right, but in my case, I tell you this: it's not so much that I disagree. I think I disagree more with black men, because a lot of the strength and things that I got didn't come from black men. I mean, yes, I have something inside of myself that says move forward, but it was black women. My mother was a single parent. She had some mental issues, but guess what? She graduated from Cornell University. You dig what I'm saying? And the women that were around me, whatever troubles they had, they were able to overcome it. The men that I knew growing up, Brownsville, Brooklyn, in the 60s, most of them were alcoholics or they weren't there. They weren't there in the homes. They weren't there in the schools. They didn't take it to the PTA. There was no grabbing your kid and taking them to go play football and basketball. We didn't have that when we were growing up, when I was a kid. But what I did have, I had a lot of positive African-American women that would not, and I'm telling you, that would not allow me to fail. No matter what, they were not going to allow me to fail. They took the strength that I had inside of me and let me know that that light was shining and I needed to do something with it.
You know, I think
like men never did that for me.
I think you were fortunate in that, you know, but I think that your experience is uniquely yours. Well, I can't say uniquely, but it's yours. You know, my experience was a little bit different. You know, like I said, I didn't get that support. I was the child who every failure was harped on. Every success was ignored. And I had those successes. And what fed me, what allowed me to develop some measure of confidence in myself, was the acknowledgement of my successes from people outside of my family. All right? Plain and simple. You know, each of us has a unique path in life. And we move through life, like I said before, at our own speed, in our own way. And the thing is, to learn to get what you want from life without hurting other people in the process. And that is my definition of being an educated man. It's not about the letters behind your name or what little piece of paper you got or the, you know, certificate and all of that. It's about how you operate with people and how you can enhance their life and at the same time enhance yours.
Well, you've enhanced mine.
Well, and
we're about ready to come to a close. I'm sorry, brother. We only do this for a half.
Okay.
We're going over a half. Yeah, it's all good with me. It's just I'm on a time schedule and I got to keep everything in order. I got to be producer, engineer, and host.
I
so
know,
it's all
I
good.
completely get you. Listen, man, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to.
I want you to come back on.
Oh, look, man, Ian, I would be honored, man.
I want us to continue this conversation. I'm learning a lot from you, as I always do.
Well,
you know?
I'm an old man and I talk a lot.
Well, what I could say is Ashe. Hold on a second, 1 second, brother. I'm still here with you.
Okay. Take your time and do what you have to do.
I'm still here. Quick. Oh, hey, guess what? I'm back. We have a little technical difficulty.
That's okay. Listen, my man.
I got to be the technician too, you know. So it's all good.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on, man. I genuinely appreciate it. I genuinely and deeply appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, there's something that I learned from my brother, and I learned from a young lady. This is what she always tell me: be yourself, because everybody else is taken. And I say, yeah, you're absolutely right. And to my brother, he's the host with me on the show when we come on Tuesday. His name is Ronald Yates. I think you may know him from.
I do know him.
Yeah. Okay. So what we say is Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe, to give respect to our ancestors. Got me?
Ashe, my brother.
So I say to you, Ashe, peace, and we're going to end this.
All right. Stay strong, man. Live well. Peace.